Dion win.
Everyone, welcome back, maybe for the very first time, and today we'll be discussing Gia Coppola's sophomore film, Mainstream. She actually made a fantastic debut called Palo Alto in 2013, and it was a very nuanced film that really just grabbed my attention. But to know that she actually is finally releasing her next film was very exciting for me, and once I heard all the buzz that Venice, I thought to myself, damn, this sounds fascinating. And in many ways, I always have been intrigued with social media and the impact that it has on society. And you look at the films of Ingrid Goes West, or you see Spree, Eighth Grade, Searching, they're all very interesting films that kind of look at the extremities of what can happen with technology. But this added elevation of having Andrew Garfield playing a kind of influencer really just made me think, wow, this could be something really intriguing. I have really enjoyed Andrew Garfield's post-Spider-Man era so far. Under the Silver Lake obviously is a shining example of what he can be. And if you've not seen him in Angels in America, I would highly encourage you to do so. Anyway, enough introducing, let's get talking. Mainstream follows a young woman called Frankie who thinks she has found her path to internet stardom. She has started making YouTube videos with a charismatic Link until the dark side of viral celebrity threatens to ruin them both. What Gia Coppola does with Mainstream is she just takes you down a rabbit hole, and it really just looks at this underbelly of what the internet is about. And our obsession with social media is something that I find quite profound, because we hide behind our screens a lot and we create personas, we create relationships and friendships that just aren't real at times. And what Coppola does so well in this film is that she just kind of balances this narrative but gives it a very satirical and darkly humoured trip that really is not going to be for everyone. This is a very chalk and cheese type of film that you are either going to embrace and go for the full ride, or you're going to detest every essence of the film. And I think in many ways it's an interesting kind of metaphor for what the internet is about. Everybody's content is different, and either you're going to like it or you're going to love it. And in many ways, that's what I got from Mainstream. I personally found it to be one of the most enthralling films I have seen this year, into the levels of it's going to be as divisive as what Vox Lux was a couple of years ago. And I think that's healthy for a film like this because it needs to be debated. But what Gia Coppola really asks here is, how far would you go to achieve your kind of fandom and becoming a star? And this question is kind of dangling through the whole process of this film, because once you build on a classic narrative, as Coppola does, she uses the sense of finding yourself within a myriad of other identities, and Frankie, who's played by Maya Hawke, is on this journey, and this journey is just kind of enveloped into something that is a lot more sinister but also quite comedically strange and bizarre. This unhinged sense of identity is kind of evoking itself quite a bit. And it's really different to what Palo Alto is. This one felt a bit more experimental within its kind of execution, where Palo Alto was a bit more straightforward within its kind of linear narrative. Here you do look at it in a bit more of an observational way, and you do actually question a bit more of what your decisions potentially might be, or do you really think this is the right thing for Frankie? Because what Maya Hawke does so well here is she is very candidly naive at the beginning of this, and this sense of building a cyber romance and trying to love somebody that potentially doesn't love her back is something that a lot of people can kind of connect with. But what Coppola does is she just looks a lot deeper into this sense of loving somebody through a screen and admiring people, because this is the thing, we admire people that we've never met and we feel like we know them because we talk to them on a daily basis through these kind of channels and videos. But what Frankie does here is she just builds on something and is creating her own beast in many ways, and it's layered in this kind of Instagram-esque filter that feels very processed, and it just feels very candidly natural for what mainstream is going for. But the main thing that really keeps you in this kind of momentum and in this world is Andrew Garfield as Link. I think that Garfield is making some very risky choices, but very rewarding choices. And what I loved about Link in this film is that he is really pompously arrogant, but also quite charming. Just like any influencer, he knows that he's better than you, but that kind of embracement of the extremities that he's portraying is something that really just drives on the narrative and really just builds on something a lot more unique. And does he kind of mimic any kind of influencer or internet kind of personality? I don't think so. What he does is he just creates something within its own. And I think it's very different to any performance that he's done before, and I find it to be quite admirable. But once you kind of latch on to this kind of idea that he builds on, I think it's just become something a lot more uniquely sinister, but also a very balanced and very poignant way to look at this kind of age. And I think once you can grab that concept, mainstream will just take you on this very unique journey that I truly found to be really interesting. And again, it just leaves you with a lot of food for thought to consider how social media is kind of working these days and how it kind of takes over your personal identity and changes you for the worst or even for the better. It's this kind of weird balance that it has, and in many ways I really hope that a lot of people get to see this as it comes out now and just formulate their own opinions on it, because it's an interesting era that we're in, and Coppola kind of encapsulates it very well within this. And it's a very fascinating sophomore film. So have you seen Mainstream yet? Please let me know in the comment section below. And if you haven't seen it, please let me know what your favorite Andrew Garfield performance is currently. And I will be back next week with another video review. Thank you very much for anybody that watched my Nagisa Oshima video. I really appreciate all the comments I've had on that. It's been fascinating and interesting to talk to you guys. Like, share, subscribe, do as you please, and I hope you're doing well. And as we normally say on this channel, diolch, danke, obrigado, merci beaucoup, arigato, dankeschön, bitteschön, all the shuns, and obviously never change.